Coming to you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
I'm Jim Check. You're watching Now Media. With me, Alexandra Wright. Haven't talked to you in a while since you ran in the provincial election.
Yep.
And then when all the Kevin Falcon stuff happened with BC United and the BC Conservatives, you decided not to run as independent when they pulled the rug out. And here you are today. You finally
I've
come
emerged
back
from the cave.
come back and you want to chat. You obviously, when we chatted, you're very, very bright, very personable.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, very smart as well, right? So
I try.
So you're thinking about getting back into it, provincially, federally, municipal?
Some people have definitely mentioned municipal to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something that I would consider if I could find enough people who would run with me, because you can't do it alone. You know, one person on city council, we've watched Ron Cannon, we've watched Charlie Hodge, they just get defeated by the machine. So you definitely need a whole bunch of people who have the same philosophy. And I mean, if I were going to run, it would be a very unpalatable platform for a lot of other people who are running. So
yeah. What do you mean by unpalatable? Because that election's coming up, right?
Yeah,
we're coming into it. This is basically, I'm going to interview the mayor, I think, tomorrow.
No.
I think we're coming, you know, it's in this coming fall.
Yes,
right?
it is,
so
yeah.
We're not even 9 months away, I think.
Yeah.
So election season starts, I would say, in January. Election season probably kicks off for some people that are going to try and get a jump on it.
Right.
For some people, they're going to probably try to do it in the 6 weeks leading up to it, but they're probably not going to do very well. But, you know, the incumbents obviously probably, I mean, they're always campaigning, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, as John Restad said, right, the first day of your next campaign is the day after you're elected. So, yeah, which unfortunately is how career politicians operate, right? So nothing happens for 3 years and suddenly everybody wakes up and says, wow, there's some issues in Kelowna that we have to fix up for next fall, which is what all the incumbents are going to say, and they're going to explain why they didn't do anything for the last 4 years, but next year, you know, it's going to be different. I
know one of the big election issues for Kelowna will be that the purchase of that waterfront property there. I had Sharon Simpson in talking about that, because part of that was kind of like tied to that Simpson covenant and that. And she now wants, you know, because it now is a city-owned property, she wants citizens of Kelowna to have a say into what that property is used for. Which and I know that I had Doug Gilchrist, the city manager, and they say, you know, they're just looking for a buyer for it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when the city of Kelowna got into real estate flipping or whatever we're doing with this property, but it was kind of surprising to me. Maybe I haven't been paying attention to what the city of Kelowna is doing and what its function is, but just seems kind of weird. It's almost like are we financing something or?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was explained very well. Doug did explain it very well in that there was, you know, somebody looking to get out, and the revenues will carry the interest costs on it, because there's revenues from marina and parking and that right now. And you're not buying in.
No, I'm not buying in.
Anyway, I mean, you have to go watch the interview. They have, you know, they made some good purchases in the past. Obviously, the rail trail. You know, I mean, that was a good purchase.
Yeah.
They did purchase that land there at Mission Creek, the headwaters of Mission Creek there. That's going to turn it into a park. So there are some key properties that are purchased, and I know that they have a mandate to purchase waterfront properties, and then they section it off. Because you know, like technically that's like an open walkway, you know what I mean? But you know, like there's a lot of landowners that don't believe in that, and they got docks that go across. So what the city's been doing is buying those properties when they come up, subdividing that part for public use, and then setback, and then that's where some of those things have happened. So
so maybe they will do something. I mean, my concern
transit stuff, like in Rutland, they purchased homes and then turned it into transit station.
Yeah, they purchased a whole bunch by the
But I mean, I think it's fair game what Sharon Simpson says. Now that the city owns it, then maybe the city residents should have a say in it.
Well, I think that should be,
it'll be an election
expanded to everything that the city owns and manages and invests in, right? I mean, if you want to go into these sorts of issues, we've got Kelowna Springs, where the city just announced that they were going to do a little land swap, or they're planning to do a land swap once it's approved. But I mean, again, with transparency, like how much is the land that they're transferring to density worth? How much have they valued?
Well, we're running golf courses now because we got Mission Creek.
I I understand we're running golf courses.
Oh, no, Mission Michael Brook we bought.
Golf courses are lucrative if you invested the right price, but the problem is the city never gives you the full story. So you're in the situation where you're only getting half truths, and so we're speculating what was the value. I mean, in my head, and I talked to ChatGPT about this, which is my source of truth right now. I mean, it sounds like Density is getting a really great deal because they've got 9.1 acres of developed commercial land over off of Sexsmith now. Plus, they get to keep 46 acres of land that is purportedly going to be zoned for commercial. So now it feels like they're actually ahead of where they were 3 years ago, which is, pretty sweet for them. But I'm not sure what the taxpayers of Kelowna are getting out of this deal.
Yeah, I didn't talk to ChatGPT on that one.
You should.
Do you have a name for your ChatGPT?
I don't. I
do.
actually feel guilty because every time I talk to him, I'm like, I'm feeding the information to the Chinese, but I still do it. So
Chinese? ChatGPT?
Shush.
That's TikTok, I think.
Russians?
OpenAI is Microsoft, but I don't know where Bill Gates operates.
I'm feeding information to the elites.
Somebody, right?
Bill Gates is listening to my every word.
I interviewed actually Q. I call mine Q.
Q.
I just named it because it's easier. Instead, it's like, hey, ChatGPT.
Wasn't Q like from Get Smart or something? Was there a Q or?
Star Trek. Keep up.
All those things you said about me before.
Q was the celestial being.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I was never much of a Trekkie.
There you go. So considering running for municipal?
Considering getting involved in some capacity, whether it would be to run or to help vet candidates, because it just seems to me that there's, I get that we want people to represent us, but I also think that we're really lacking in people who have that business acumen and the common sense and just the forethought and the city planning experience to just get in there and have that foresight 30 years down the road.
So if you ran, what would your platform be? Like, what would you run on? What are the issues that you think Kelowna is facing? Well,
I think Ron Cannon, had a really good idea with separating Kelowna into wards. I think that's a great idea. Big cities do it, and that way everybody feels like they have a candidate who's actually representing their part of the city. Because I live, obviously, Rutland adjacent. Some people would call it Rutland. And of course, Rutland gets hit with
Upper Rutland.
Upper Rutland. I love Rutland. My daughter goes to school there.
I love Rutland too. Rutland's one of the communities that actually people have a more strong attachment to than most communities in Kelowna.
Absolutely.
Because they're, like obviously straight out of Rutland, all that stuff. There is, and usually in our Best of Kelowna, Rutland wins that community stuff. And I've been part of that Rutland business community for a long time. And Rutland has a personality on its own, and the people of Rutland feel attached to Rutland.
I totally agree, but unfortunately, because none of our city councilors live in Rutland, Rutland tends to get the short end of the stick with some of the wet facilities and stuff like that, right? Like I drive by one of the facilities every morning when I drop my daughter off at school, and the poor people next door have been trying to sell their house for, I don't know, eons. But obviously, nobody really wants to live next to a wet facility. I mean, whether it's safe, whether it's not, But again, another city decision that has this impact on the community. We're 2 blocks from a school or however many blocks away. Like it's always feeling like Rutland's taking on more of the burden, whereas other parts of the city maybe have to step up a little bit too.
Well, what are the issues though, other than a ward? Yeah, what are the issues?
Okay, so my issues would definitely be, I was really, really mad when the city councilors gave themselves a wage increase. I honestly think that wages for city councilors should be attached to some kind of metric. We need a KPI which shows whether they're performing, and however we do it, whether we tie it to the economy. I know that they're not fully in charge of the economy, but they're in charge of local stuff, and I think we actually need to tie their performance in such a manner that the citizens can say, no, I'm not happy with you this year. You don't get a raise. Yeah. Right?
One of the things that I liked about Ken Sims, the mayor of Vancouver, and says we're going to do a 0% tax increase. Do you know what I mean? Because we always seem to think, well, I shouldn't say we always seem to think, but I think a lot of city planners believe that they're entitled to a 3 to 5% increase every year.
Absolutely. Cost of living.
Just that's what it is. That's what it is. Because here we have all this technology now, ChatGPT, all this AI, when we could become, you can 10x yourself. There's no doubt about it. You can easily 10x yourself. If I can 10x myself, that department should be able to 10x itself. That means they could do with a lot less. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't need
I totally agree.
We shouldn't get the obligatory 3 to 5% increase.
Well, and you own your own business. I own my own business. I haven't given myself a raise in
10 years.
12.
There you go.
Right?
I mean, we've had the government step on our throat though.
I've been paying more
Bill
taxes.
C-18.
Yep.
With Bill C-18, right? They've cut our audience in half and cut our revenues in half.
Yeah.
Well, they say they're helping us. If you could take your foot off our throat, we could breathe.
Exactly. Encourage business development, and suddenly we'd have more money and we wouldn't be so mad about paying our taxes. But instead we're in the situation
or pay less taxes, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I agree with you on the City of Kelowna. I agree that freezing taxes, because as you know now, the City of Kelowna has been borrowing money as well. And I haven't really looked into this, but I don't know, what we're paying and what the lender rules are on that. But it just seems like maybe we have to live within our budget. We keep telling people.
Well, the city's sitting on tons of cash too. It's sitting on tons of cash. They borrowed this to be kind of a side deal so that the interest costs on it will be covered by the marina and the. I mean, I trust in that. I think it was a good idea because that is one of the key pieces of property in Kelowna. That is right at the headwaters of in the Bernard Street there. You want to make sure the development that goes in there is going to be a development that benefits.
I suppose, and yet all the other developments around there haven't really benefited, and those are the ones that the city approved. So are we going to suddenly think that perhaps this one is going to be the one that ties it all together? Like, I used to go to downtown all the time for dinner and drinks. And
why don't you anymore?
I really don't love the tent cities.
It's a different thought. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the crime and safety file,
well, it is,
right?
but it all ties together, right? But it's also these massive buildings. When I moved to Kelowna, 11 years ago, it was a charming little downtown, right? It was these 3 or 4 story buildings. It was very quaint. Yeah. I understand the need for change, but to me now it feels like I'm living in Little Vancouver, and that's not really what I signed up. I don't know what you signed up for, but I came here because I like rural living. I like a calmer, more laid back quality of life, and I don't feel like
you're going to have to move.
I think you're right.
Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think Kelowna is going to stand still. I mean,
the problem is there's smart development, and then there's development for the sake of development, right? We're taking all of these parcels and turning them into concrete wastelands because there's money in that right now. But what happens when you have this, city that has no heart and no charm because it's all big boxes, modular stores? Well,
I mean, I push back on you and say, Penticton did what you just asked for here, and it basically killed itself economically. Because when I grew up here in the late 70s or whatever, and Penticton was the hub. Penticton was the place to be. They had the riots, and they're just like, no youth, right? Just like, get out. And all of a sudden, Kelowna was the place to be.
Well, I don't think that...
Kelowna got the airport used to be Penticton. The mall used to be Penticton. Cherry Lane Mall was the deal. The airport was there. And then they had this anti-development stuff going on in Penticton.
I'm not talking about anti-development. I'm talking about smart development.
But anyway, so Penticton has taken a backseat to Kelowna. Kelowna has become pro-development, and then we've got a few things. We got the university, we got the connector, which was huge. We got the cancer clinic. We got like tons of different things, right? And Kelowna became, I think, the second most populous area in the British Columbia outside the Lower Mainland now, and growing fast. One of the fastest growing centers. Kelowna International Airport. All those kind of things. So I don't think Kelowna will ever.
No, we're not going backwards.
Be backward.
But
It's never going to be small.
We have to be smart, right? If we're looking, because obviously the city publishes their projections of how many people are going to be here. Population keeps on growing year over year. So what are those people going to need, right? I mean, obviously we're always going to have a large population of older people because of the climate, because of the, pickleball courts, but we need those resources for old people, which is, golf courses, pickleball.
It's a 4-season playground.
It is.
You know what I mean? We have a world-class ski resort. And that's one of the attractions too, right? Yeah. Kelowna it's got a world-class ski resort. It's got a university, plus, the other one is a college university, right? So we have those two things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that attracts people here in that lake.
Absolutely. But that's what we have to protect, right? Yeah. That's the beauty and charm that everybody moves towards and wants to live by. We don't want to sit in traffic and, be partially, traffic caused by the fact that we've got these condo complexes without enough parking underneath. We have all of these things that have been approved, because we care about development, but we're not developing in such a way that, you know, we don't have a light rail, we don't have any of that. And it just feels like we're just cramming people into boxes like rats.
Yeah, I mean, they have tried to force development into the transportation corridors. Do you know what I mean? That is kind of been a push.
Yep.
And that is just part of this net zero stuff too. They want people to be in transportation corridors so they don't have cars. And
which would be great if we had, yeah. I mean, but again, alongside of that, we have to have a plan then for some kind of public transportation that is actually feasible for most people, right? Like most people like you or I, we don't get on buses because we don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
Do you have that kind of time?
I get motion sickness on a bus.
Well, and honestly, I have a daughter and I don't really love her getting on the bus because, you know, there's a certain contingent who are hanging out at those bus shelters that I don't love either.
There's a lot of people that are really concerned about the crime and safety file, for
Absolutely.
sure. And then that includes provincially as well as federally and locally,
Completely.
right? I know that the mayor and council has written a letter to Sean Fraser and seen some, you know, like reaction to it. Whether or not we see, you know, like some results from it is a different thing, right?
Yeah, so. But then they're, on the other hand, they're making these little tiny, you know, I don't want to call them residences because I don't think they are.
Tiny homes?
Tiny somethings,
yeah.
Right? There's that one out by, you know, my end of town off of Sexsmith again. And
I think there's 3 of them now.
Yeah, and the problem is now we're seeing a lot of increased crime. I've got homeless people on my street at night walking down there. It's not built for people walking on the street. There's no street lights, right? Yeah. So it just seems like we're just pushing crime out rather than kind of
It's a different philosophy from like, I'd say like 10 years ago when they wanted everything downtown, right? They didn't want any of it pushed out. Now they've decided that they want, I mean.
Now it's everybody.
I mean, the plan seems to be not a plan, right? Push everything in and then everything out, everything in, everything out.
Exactly.
I think that, to me, it all boils down to the economy, which is federally and provincially, is that our economy is hurting, which forces more people. And we're seeing more people going into the homeless community that aren't drug addicted.
Absolutely.
They're going in there because of the economy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's getting worse. We have an unemployment rate here now banging on the door of 10% in Kelowna. Like, I mean, that's high.
Well, I mean, I come from a, you know, my husband and I both have decent jobs. Like, we make decent money, but I buy stuff that's on sale at the grocery store now. Yeah. We don't do DoorDash anymore. Like, I just refuse because I can't justify it, right? Like, everybody is.
Well, I mean, I say this, we do a news show every day. I know you watch every day.
I do,
but
religiously.
We do the really big show every morning at 9 a.m., little plug, shameless plug there. But, you know, standing at the, you know, at Save On Foods, I look at families and they're staring at the meat counter with their kids. Like it's like a special occasion, you know, when they can buy steak again. And that's not Canada. Right?
No,
that's not Canada.
It's not.
And the politicians need to wear that, right? They can't blame Ukraine. They can't blame everybody else because it's not happening everywhere.
Well, and that's exactly why I don't think they should be getting raises until this is sorted out, right? Why should they be insulated from these effects of the economy?
You don't think that Liberal MP that just spent $176,000 in 9 days deserves to spend $170 in personal expenses?
$16 orange juice.
$176,000 in 9 days on personal expenses.
It's disgusting, right? It's morally reprehensible. But this is the problem. We don't have the accountability, and we don't have.
I'm going to stand on a soapbox again. What we don't have is a media that holds power to account. Because if you go on CBC Today, and Ian and I did it again today, and we do it almost every show. You go on there. What's on CBC's website right now? I think the top fold is 10 TDS stories. Trump derangement syndrome stories, not stuff on the Canadian economy. It's a Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, not the Trump derangement syndrome corporation. But that's what it's there to distract people from the real issues. Like, where's the stuff on the budget? The budget came down yesterday. Where's the stuff from the PBO's office? You know, the shocking, stupefying, unsustainable. Where's that stuff? Where is the stuff? They just got in that budget $150 million more for the CBC. And what do they cover? Trump. And David Cochrane has Richard Gere on last night. And what does they talk about? How Trump's ruining America.
I missed that.
Right? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, honestly, I mean, I think that independent news is the only way that you can possibly ever have any.
Well, what are they
kind of
doing to
fair
independent
system.
news? What are they doing?
Oh,
they're
they're
choking
completely
us. They're
squashing
literally
it.
choking us, right?
Well, I mean, CBC is Canada's Pravda. I think we can all agree with that, right? I mean, you never bite the hand that feeds you, especially when it's giving you millions of dollars every year.
$1.55 billion.
Yeah.
$1.55 billion.
Yeah.
And when they got that raise, what did they do? The executives took a raise.
Well, I too would like a New York condo.
Would you?
No.
I mean, we cover tons of fraud, waste, abuse, incompetence every day on the show.
Yeah.
And if we pull up the CBC and we're like, where's this story on CBC's website? Nope.
No.
What's on there? Trump derangement syndrome. How Trump is the evil empire. And why is that? Because the people that still watch the CBC want it, right? Because it's the red meat, right? For the rabid people that just want to feast on that, and then they don't look and how dare you speak against Carney when there's this threat to the world there. And I have news for those people. Canada's been brought to its knees by liberal policies of the last 10 years.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Anti-energy policies of the last 10 years have brought the Canadian economy to its knees.
Well, I mean, look at our immigration rates, right? I mean, what is it? 1 out of 5 immigrants leaves, and I don't know how many citizens of Canada are leaving. I know of 4 personally in the last couple of years who've said,
there's an
I'm
economic
done.
winter coming to Canada, so you have a couple things to do. You can do with an economic winter. You can get a heavy coat to protect yourself, or you can go south, right, to sunnier climates.
No, anybody who has that opportunity is probably going to fly that way, right? Like, I mean, why wouldn't they? Unfortunately, you're doing that brain drain, and now you're stuck with all of the people who are reliant on the government.
Some people will say about Ian and I, they're anti-Canada. No, we're trying to save Canada.
We just want to get back to that Canada that we all grew up in.
We can't continue down this path because we know where this leads.
I grew up being so proud of Canada. I'd travel. I'd have my little backpack with my maple leaf on it, and it was great, right? I didn't want to be associated with Americans. I didn't want to be associated with anybody else because I was proud of where we came from, right? Now it's a different dissociation.
So when are you going to start printing your signs?
Well, I'm working quite hard right now. You know, I still haven't got my money back from last year. So.
I mean, we'll just talk a little bit about provincially.
Sure,
We interviewed Jonathan Kay, who's a national journalist, and he was in town. And he said, like, wow. He said, Canada's doing kind of like bad on the economic front, but we look over at BC and we say, what the heck is going on over there? Because he said you have a Conservative Party that's in complete chaos, fractured. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy. BC Conservative Party is fractured.
Yeah.
And the analogy you could say is like their laundry, they just throw the dirty laundry everywhere, and it's just out there for everybody to look at.
I don't think they've got any clean laundry.
But anyway, so they got their laundry everywhere. Whereas David Eby the party's in La La Land. Yeah. But one thing they do is they keep their laundry in the basket, right? They kind of keep their.
That's always been the strength of the federal Liberals as well, right?
Yeah, they keep their laundry in the basket because they're just like, shh, don't say anything because all this other stuff, right?
Exactly.
So with what's going on in I did an interview with Mario Canseco, do you know the pollster here in BC Research Co. And he said, he did a poll to see who should replace John Rustad. Yeah. Did you watch that one?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he named a few names. Yeah. And any names in there that you would?
I mean, obviously, I have to root for Gavin Dew.
Yeah. There you go.
Honestly, so what we've got here is the BC Conservatives are heading to the center left. So we might as well just, pick the person who represents the center.
I think British Columbia in general is a centrist kind of like what I would say is like a centrist kind of left, like business oriented, but with more of a social conscience. I think that's where the bulk of the voting public is.
Yes, unfortunately, I think that sometimes people don't understand the economic consequences of the social aspects, and I don't think that they understand that some of the social aspects are more about being virtuous or thinking that you're virtuous.
I think that's the people that are just a few. You know what I mean? I would say like the Chrétien liberals of the past, where they were trying to run an economy and still had. Do you know what I mean? But that party has moved like. I don't know where they moved. Way over
the
there.
Homeless encampment.
Way over there, and then. Even John Horgan's NDP is completely different than David Eby's NDP. Even Jason Kenney said that.
John Horgan's NDP, could you believe?
Yeah, I know. Jason Kenney even said, you can't check it, I guess. Jason Kenney said that even Horgan said that David Eby was a mud hutter, and I didn't say it.
I don't think I'm familiar with that expression. I'm scared to ask how.
Well, that, like they didn't want an economy. They just want everybody to have nothing, right? So
yeah. Okay. Socialist.
Yeah. And then we see that with some of the policies, right? So.
Well, he doesn't want everybody to have a mud hut.
Yeah. Well, a few people, the elites,
like to have his
that, right?
castle, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's typical elitism, right?
Yeah.
But so Gavin Dew, they also brought up the name Christy Clark.
Yeah.
And because one thing about Christy Clark, she's very versatile. She can be conservative. She can be a liberal. She can be NDP. I don't think she's done NDP yet.
It's not too late.
She's very versatile.
They should be looking for a new leader at some point soon.
That's what I was. That's polite, I think, right? She's very versatile.
Well, and I think again, this is really the problem that the BC Conservatives have is they were started by such a beautiful, wholesome grassroots movement. Like they had the best of people bringing this party up. They had the best of intentions, and what they didn't realize is that they were going to get hijacked as soon as there was a certain momentum to that party, which is what happened. And now we have the career politicians who have infiltrated in, and they don't care about anything except the next election cycle. And that's our whole problem with politics in Canada is all of these politicians are thinking about themselves and not thinking about their job.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think, like we need people to think about the general population, like Canada first, like, you know what I mean? Like where the meat and potatoes of where Canada is. Mm-hmm. And, need somebody that actually says we need to do stuff so that we don't have people standing at the meat counter wishing to buy meat. Do you know what I mean? Like
we need to actually start making some sacrifices, I think, in the short term so that our children have a better future.
We need to start the economy. Canada sits on enormous wealth.
Completely.
And we self-inflict our own damage.
Absolutely.
And instead of tapping that wealth, like Norway, where they have a sovereign wealth fund of $300,000 and per person, mm-hmm. and we don't, and we have enormous debt, and yet we squander our natural resources to virtue signal to
everybody, certain
people, and then you could say that's, but the people that are doing the virtue signaling are also filling their pockets. So you wonder what's going on because like right now. Stephen Guilbeault still hasn't turned over, the Liberals haven't turned over the paperwork for the alleged, $250 million that was funneled into certain companies.
But you don't have to. There's no accountability, right?
Again, and I'm going to go back to the media in Canada that has been compromised, crippled, and then compromised, right? Because
well, it's not just the media; it's also the judicial system. It's also right.
But the media's job is to hold power accountable, and you can't say that that's happening because they won't even let us in the room, though, right? They won't let us in the room. You know how many times we reach out to get interviews with Liberal MPs and NDP? I mean, we get the odd one, but that's after enormous pressure. Yeah. And then they'll give you like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you know what I mean? So that they just control damage, right?
Yeah.
Like give us an hour with Mark Carney.
Yeah.
Let me and Ian talk to Mark Carney for an hour. He goes on BBC, he goes, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I don't think you get too many honest, forthright responses out of Mark Carney either, right? Like, I mean, again, he's just one of the polished politicians.
We don't have a robust media in Canada like they do in the UK or they do in the United States.
We don't have a democracy is the real problem, I think, right? Like we have senators who were supposed to be independent, and then we saw how that worked during COVID times when they all voted with the Liberals. We have a judiciary, most of them have been appointed or have been, big Liberal donors in the past. So we have nobody who is objective and nobody is actually concerned about this. I mean, obviously some citizens are very concerned about it, but they feel helpless and powerless to do anything. So then the question is, how do you do this without a revolution, to your point? And I think, again, the government has distracted us so much with inflation, with cost of living, with ostriches, that we are so busy running around trying to protect our family from...
Virtue signaling and identity politics, that's what they did. And that's what caused division, and that's, intentional.
Absolutely.
Right? It's intentional. And we're just dumb enough to play along.
Well, I don't know how anybody knowing my pronouns is going to make me a better worker. It's going to make you think differently of me. It's not important, right? There's the big things in life that are important, which is looking after your family, and then there's the other things, which are all just fluff.
So if you're not going to run for city council...
Well, I didn't say that.
I was going to say, you could do a show and we could just talk about everybody else is running.
I mean, that sounds like the BC Conservative Party, actually. We can just criticize everybody.
There you go. I do thank you for your time today, though.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun.
You know what I mean? You're smart, funny, charismatic.
I'd be a great politician.
You would be. But you got to learn how to lie.
You know what? I think my biggest problem if I were to run is that I hate small talk. I do not go on yachts. I do not like parties. I do not like talking to people about things that don't matter. So that is definitely a career limiting move as a politician.
Yeah, I would say the same. I've been asked many times even to run like for city council, and I said, I don't think you want me there.
You should.
I don't think you want me there.
Why don't we do it together?
I don't think you want me there because the other people might not get...
Don't you think that'd be fun? You could be mayor and I'll be city councilor. We just have to get 3 more people. And
Did you hear that, Tom? I got a vote.
So did I, though.
I think Tom's going to be in tomorrow. I'll ask him.
You should ask him. I think he really enjoys me.
Does he?
He loves my emails. I know that for sure.
Does he? Well,
yeah,
there you go.
He always responds promptly.
Awesome. I'll ask him tomorrow.
You should.
I think it's tomorrow or Thursday. Yeah, it's tomorrow. It has to be
He'll be
tomorrow.
like, which one of the 10,000 are you referring to?
Maybe he's got a, what you call it,
He's definitely blocked me.
no, he's got a filter in there that just automatically cycles.
I definitely go to the junk mail for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, I have Renee Merrifield with Beyond the Ballot in 20 minutes or so at noon, as usual. Renee Merrifield with Beyond the Ballot at noon, and I do thank you for watching Now Media.
We don't just report the news, we live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.